So when I was out uh, on the road, I had an improvisation book put out by Kendor, DiBlasio's Bop Shop. It was something that it came about from doing all these clinics with Maynard. Maynard would love to do clinics for high school kids and colleges, and the way we did the clinic is we went out there for 90 minutes or so, and Maynard would talk about breathing for about 40 minutes, half an hour. Then he would leave, and we would take over. So uh, it was actually kind of fun. It was actually a room full of people just ready to ask questions about anything. So we came up with an outline. We'll talk about improvisation. We could talk about the blues scale. We did so many of them that I came up with a little kind of outline to go through different topics if no one asked any questions. And we would open it up to the guys in the band who would answer questions, instrument specific stuff. So it was kind of cool. Anyway, we put all these notes together. And then one time I wrote them out in text form. I don't know if I did it on a typewriter or early computer, I'm not sure, but I left these big open spaces for Steve Wiest, who was my roommate, who illustrates great. He actually filled in the spaces with cartoons. So it actually became this funny type of, unintimidating, entertaining way to explain some basic information. And Jeff Jarvis at Kendor, was nice enough to kind of put it out and lay it out. So it's called DiBlasio's Bop Shop. So that came out, and we did a version 2 of it. So you may see that still around. It was translated into Italian, which I took as a personal victory. But anyway, that was cool. And so as a result, I had a book published. You can call it a book. It's more like a pamphlet. We should sell it with crayons so you can actually fill it in. But we wind up I get a call from Maynard's office saying, "Hey, look, there are a lot of publishers who would like to have a high note book out by Maynard, and since you already have something that's out, a book that's already out there, why don't you, since you sit in the front of the bus with Maynard?" At this point, we were hanging out a lot, and I was always asking him stories, and this was the time when we were just getting all these great stories, and we realized he loved to tell stories. So we milked that cow, man, until it was dry. So we have all these great stories. So since I was sitting up front with him a lot, we would have these long travel days where you're just hanging out doing nothing. A couple hours in a bus telling stories, and then you get out and play. What could be better than that? Especially when you're with a person who loves to tell stories and is so animated. He gets more joy out of telling the story than you would get by listening, even though, so it was always this positive energy. It was great. So they say, talk with him, put a book together, write the notes, organize it. So we're in the front of the bus. I said, "Hey, boss, they called me from the office. They want you to put a high note book together. It doesn't matter to me. I can't use it, but, I'll get paid like a flat fee for it, So, what do you think?" And Maynard's like, and whenever he did that, it was almost a no. Your radar became pretty clear if you could read his signals. So, what do you think, boss? Want to do this high note book? He's like, his tongue would touch the, he said, sometimes so many repeatedly. You knew the answer was kind of no, but somehow he couldn't say no. And he goes, let me think about it. Okay, think about it. It's fine with me. One time on an interview on TV, he was doing a live interview, and we were all in a room. We were watching it on TV, and somebody had a legal pad. And we said, "Check how many times boss says, And I think in a period of like 2 or 3 minutes, he did it about 27 times or something like that. I forget who was, I think Ron Pedley, a really great keyboard player. I think he was keeping score. I don't know why I remember that. But someone would ask Maynard a question. "So, Maynard, what is it like traveling?" We would go and eat with everyone, try, he would just mark on the pad because it was going too quick to actually write a number. And when it was all over, we looked at it and it came close to 30 within like a minute and a half. So anyway, back to the story. I digress. So, boss, what do you think? Okay. So maybe a week goes by. I get a call from the office. How's the book coming? I said, well, it's not coming. I don't know if he wants to do it or not. Well, a lot of publishers would like it. I said, I don't, has nothing to do with me. I mean, if he doesn't want to write this book. So I asked him again. I said, boss, they're on me about, asking you about this High Note book. And he went, oh, yeah, the High Note book, yeah. Yeah, okay, I guess I have some ideas on that. Let me think on it. Fine, think on it. And it goes, it goes away. Then I get another phone call. How are we doing with the book? I said, I don't think there's a book here. He doesn't seem to be taking the bait, or if there's any bait to take. And once again, well, these publishers, every publisher will be glad to publish it. But, I can't do anything about it. So I said, all right. So we're on the bus again. I said, boss, they're calling me about this High Note book thing. I said, he goes, oh, yeah, the High Note book thing. Yeah, right. He said, I think Cat Anderson did a High Note book. Let's get his book and see what exercises he has in it. And I thought, whoa. And I went, wait a minute, because now I have to go out and find a Cat Anderson High Note book. So, I don't want this to become like more homework than it's already going to be. So I asked him, I said, boss, look, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really care if you do this book or not. It won't work for saxophone. But do you want to do this book? No. How did I? I forgot exactly how this part was, but it doesn't matter. But I said, do you want to do this book? And he goes, well, it would be, and he was kind of, stonewalled there, I guess. He didn't quite know what to say. And then I asked him, and this is the whole reason for this story. I said, well, boss, do you know how you do it? Do you know how you do the high note thing? I mean, can you really explain it to someone who can't do it? Is that like a thing that you have in your head? Because a lot of people who do things great just do them great. They don't analyze it. They can feel it, and it feels right, and they're doing it. Sometimes when you teach it, you have to kind of reverse engineer it and figure out how you do it so you can explain it to someone. So I said, so boss, do you have like a method for this? And he goes, well, not really. And I thought, oh, so that's it. No wonder he doesn't want to do a book. He doesn't know what to put in it because it's not something that he had learned. But this is it right here. And I said, well, how did you wind up, playing up there? How did all that happen? And here it is. He said, well, when I was a kid, I loved playing melodies. I just loved melodies. And if you think about the way he played up high, it was never like bebop lines up high. It was always like a melodic or an opera approach to playing up high. He was never playing up high like, even though I did hear that on one occasion, which was very scary. That's another video. But 99.999999, almost 100, we'll call it 100% of the time, he would make this opera approach be his approach when he played up high. So he says, I just love playing melodies up high, and then I love the idea of whenever I played a melody to play it up a minor third. There's something about the minor third that I just loved. So I would play a melody like Moon River and then take it up a minor third, and I just loved the way that sounded. And then when I took it up another minor third, I just loved the way it sounded. So it was the interval of a minor third on a melody that gave him this mojo to sail into the melody, again. And the minor third does have a certain quality. It's a lot of chord changes follow minor thirds. I guess someone in music theory can describe what that does or how it relates to chord progressions. But if you listen to Oh gosh, you hear it all over the place. Maiden Voyage. If you listen to the chord changes to Maiden Voyage, it's like D sus, and it goes to F sus, it goes up a minor third. That sound he loved. And I said, so that was it. And he goes, yeah, yeah. He goes, I just love whatever the melody was. It was up a minor third. And then he said, when I started playing with guys in Canada, because he was a kid up in Canada playing with pros, he would just do that as a warm up, and the guys would look at him saying, "What the heck are you doing?" He goes, "What? What?" So he didn't really know that he was breaking new ground or getting into something that a lot of people didn't do. He just loved that sound, which I thought was just great because that's the organic like affinity for doing that. He just wasn't trying to play high. He enjoyed the singing part of what a melody was like when you jacked it up a minor third. The fact that it was on trumpet and it was higher than what other guys were doing was never a thing for him. It was the joy of playing a melody up a minor third. Just kept minor third, minor third, minor third. And I thought, holy smokes, that's the story. That's what you should publish. But there's, I don't know what kind of money you're going to make. But people were always trying to figure him out. They would, do you bring your corners? Do you do this? Do you do that? And you can hear him talking. He goes, well, you know, yeah, I guess the corners are, have something to do with it. You know, I think after talking to him and listening to him talk to other players, he just hit on it, however he hit on it. And having him actually explain it was something that he didn't, I don't think he had it in his head codified that way. And that's why when he gave a clinic, at these clinics, he would talk about yoga breathing, which is kind of something that I guess he was already doing. But he said, I had a book on yoga breathing, and this helps me breathe. But he was, before he discovered that book on yoga breathing, he was already known as somebody who was playing up there. So I think the yoga breathing book was something that helped explain what he already did. But that was the breathing part. Anyway, it was interesting. But melodies up a minor third. He just loved that sound. So there you go. That's why there's no high note book. And I never found the Cat Anderson book. But pretty interesting. Up a minor third. There you have it.